What's going on, Godzirra Nation? This is ArghGodzirra. Today we're going to get our 2020 finals predictions video done. And this is an angle you haven't seen your boy from before. Got a different setup going on. Things are over there, things are over there. I don't know whether this is how we're going to stick with things, but for the time being, a lot of room for activities up in this bitch.
Look at all this floor space. We do aerobics in here.
So many activities.
Do step class.
It's making my head spin how many activities we can do.
Play Army Man. Yeah.
Before we get our tips in though, it's time to reflect back on the final week and see where the final ladder ended up. So let's go check that out right now. So we're going to look at the competition and how it ended before we get into the tips. 35,000 out of 198,000. Pretty impressive. 44 people overall. Almost tripling our usual numbers. Thank you all so much if you got involved this year. Matt Lamb, 24. Overall winner on 113 points. And once you make up the 6 points that I got dicked that one week, beating myself on 110. So Matt, or Car K, whatever you would like me to recognize yourself as, congratulations on winning my footy tipping competition this year. Please get in touch with myself, comment section down below, or on social media so I can arrange a prize for you. Still not sure whether I'm going to work out a wooden spoon for the bottom of the ladder yet. Might be something we get involved with in the 2021 season. But I'm very thankful that each and every one of you got involved this year. Hopefully we can crack 50 players for round 1 kicking off next year. But now that we've had a look at how this went down this week, or last week, whatever week it was, let's go have a look at my predictions for the final series. And we can see here our 4 games, 2 qualifying finals and 2 elimination finals. I think I'm going to do the elimination finals first. West Coast v Collingwood. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. West Coast still have a lot of players that are injured that all have to pass fitness tests in order to come back in. I don't know whether Eagles should rush all these players back. That being said, Collingwood are all without, still side bottom, and I think Collingwood go into this match up a lot stronger, and I'm actually going to back Collingwood to beat the Eagles. They will continue their season onto the semi-final. The Eagles will be sent home to Perth. The second elimination final, a little bit harder to pick, St Kilda Bulldogs, because they're both evenly matched, a lot of speed coming out of both teams. I think what's going to get the Bulldogs over the line is they've been in this position before. They know what type of heat is going to get brought to the table. So I am going to be backing the Bulldogs to continue on to the second semi-final, eliminating St Kilda. That being said, St Kilda should be hugely happy with the fact that they finished in 6th. And in my personal opinion, Brett Ratten has been one of the best coaches in 2020, hands down. As for the qualifying finals, going to go with qualifying final 2 first because I am going to back Richmond to beat Brisbane. A few stats here. Trent Cotchin, Dustin Martin, Damien Hardwick. Those 3 names have never lost to Brisbane. Damien Hardwick has never coached a losing side to Brisbane while at Richmond. Cotchin and Dustin Martin, when they have played, have never lost to Brisbane. We saw it a couple of weeks ago. We saw the final series last year. We've seen it over the last couple of years. Richmond just seem to have that edge over Brisbane. I don't know what it is. I'm backing Brisbane to come out stronger this week compared to the previous game we played earlier in the year. No Tom Lynch could have bearing on the game. But if you take Tom Lynch out of our last game that we played against them, he kicked 3 goals. You take 18 away from the 41 points that we won by, and we still win by a handful of goals. So I'm expecting players like Josh Caddy, Jack Rewalt, Mabior Chol even, they'll get off the chain, they'll have a big impact, and if Dion Prestia comes back into the midfield, expect Dustin Martin to go up forward and cause a little bit of havoc up there as well. This one's interesting, Port Adelaide v Geelong, because we know Geelong gave Port Adelaide a touch-up in Metricon, or was it the Gabba? It was up in Queensland. 60 points they ended up winning by. Port Adelaide, though, playing at home in front of an Adelaide crowd, could get the edge over Geelong. And you'd think they would come out firing here. Personally, I think they are going to win. I am going to back Port Adelaide. I just find it very hard to back against Port Adelaide in Port Adelaide. That home crowd is going to play a huge factor into them lifting. It's a cop out maybe, I don't know, but they're going to be very hard to beat with a crowd like that behind them. Moving on to the semi-final 1, Geelong versus Collingwood. Sets up 2 great semi-finals actually. Geelong v Collingwood here. Oh, it's a hard one. It is a hard one. Because both teams could come out firing. I'm going to go Geelong. I just think Geelong have a bit of an edge over Collingwood. Their more mature players, I think, can stand up and deliver. And it'll be more heartbreaking for them to lose against Richmond in the prelim. But Collingwood could win that one. It's a toss of the coin. I'm going to lock in Geelong, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got this matchup if Collingwood didn't get up and win. This matchup here, very interesting matchup. I'm going to go Brisbane, because Brisbane at the Gabba are going to be pretty impressive to watch. And I think they're going to move on and give us one hell of a contest up in here. Bulldogs, I think, just lack the finish that some of the other teams in the top 8 currently possess. They could upset Brisbane here. They really could. But I'm going to lock in Brisbane. Which sets up 2 prelims. The first of which is Port Adelaide versus Brisbane. The second sees Richmond taking on Geelong, which does see the top 4 teams coming back around to playing each other again. For me, Richmond beats Geelong. We saw what Richmond did to Geelong just a couple of weeks ago. And that was a very inaccurate Richmond as well, mind you. Port Adelaide v Brisbane. As much as I would love to tip Brisbane here to see a Brisbane-Richmond grand final, I don't know whether Brisbane can go to Port Adelaide and then play them in Port. See, the ideal situation you'd want to see here, if you're a Brisbane fan, is you would want Geelong to win the qualifying final, and then if Port Adelaide go on, you'd have Geelong taking on Brisbane, which in case I would pick Brisbane, and Richmond taking on Port Adelaide. But I think Port Adelaide, again, too hard to beat in Adelaide. And this is where I'm going to be choosing Richmond to win the grand final. And if you look at the breakdown, you can understand why. Richmond have been very impressive on the Gold Coast this year. They've made it their second home. It's like they haven't left the MCG. They play in Brisbane in that final. They play in Brisbane in this final. And then they play in Brisbane for the grand final if they make it. Port Adelaide are playing their qualifying final at home. If they win that, they play their prelim at home and then get taken out of their comfort zone, just like they did when they came up and got smacked by Geelong. And I think that sets up a big finish. The only other outcome I see here, as I predicted, I don't think it would change my overall pick of Richmond winning the premiership this year. But the only other changes I could see is Geelong possibly winning here, Port Adelaide going on for then Richmond to defeat Port Adelaide and Brisbane to defeat Geelong, or even Geelong to defeat Brisbane. It could go any other way. But all bets that I am hedging right now are always going to see Richmond in the grand final and Richmond winning that grand final. The only thing that really changes it for me is if West Coast beat Collingwood. You got so many outcomes here. You got West Coast beating Collingwood, and then if Geelong win that, I'd probably pick West Coast then to get up and beat Port Adelaide. Yeah, so you still get the same outcome. But for me, this is the outcome that we are going to see this year. That's how I think it's going to break down. A lot of waffling on, but I think that's how it's going to finish. So even though I've chosen Richmond to win the grand final overall, I've given reason as to why. It's not just because, I go for Richmond, so I'm tipping Richmond. I think we've proven the last week and a half we've been the team to beat. Once again, thank you all so much for getting involved with this year's tipping competition if you did. If there's any other types of AFL content you would like to see hit the channel, let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to see trade talk, talks about the draft, more than happy to do that. There's going to be predictions coming in for next season where I'm going to involve some other guys, and we're going to spice things up a little bit in here as well. The next video you see that is AFL related will be myself redoing the AFL 2020 All-Australian team, because I think some players were very hardly done by, and I think we need to do it a little bit of justice. So if you're keen to see that, be sure to stick around. Hit that like button down below, it goes a long way to supporting myself. And if you're new to the channel and you want to support myself just that little bit more, hit that subscribe button down below. It's there. It's down there. Hit it. You're not just supporting myself by doing so, you're joining one hell of a community in the process as well. Social media links are down below. Feel free to reach out on those if you haven't already. Ring that bell before you leave. It's down there as well. Goddamn camera. You'll get a notification every time something goes down. Well, if YouTube wants to notify you, you'll get notified. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here. Good luck for all your tipping during the final series. If your team is still alive, hopefully they make it over the line. But you know who I'll be rooting for. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.